tea. And we are starting. So, hello everyone. Let me know as soon as you can hear and see me fine, so I can make sure. Oh. Thought somebody was already saying we hear and see you. Oh, figures. I'm sorry. I just knew this was going to happen. Okay, I'm going to have to pause. Hello. All right, sorry about that. It was really important that I take that call. I had a feeling it was going to come in right when I was in the middle of getting started. So again, starting over. Let me know if you can hear and see me. Make sure I'm coming through. And I'll kind of wait until I know that this is working. Yeah, it was my husband. It was important. Sorry, Grizz, that my husband's more important than you. Okay, so y'all hearing me? I guess that means you guys hear and see me now just fine. I do want to make sure. So I'm just waiting. I'm just sitting here, just blah, 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 until I know for sure. I can only assume Grizz's comment meant that I'm coming through okay. It may have started a new window. Okay. I'm going to type in there because I'm afraid I want to make sure it didn't just go ahead and start in a new window, because I stopped it and then restarted it. Okay, so it looks like everyone's seeing me. Okay, great. Thank you. That was the answer I was looking for. I just wanted to make sure, because I know sometimes when you do the stop and restart, it will start as a whole new stream, and that's really irritating, and I was hoping I wouldn't have to do that. But okay, yeah, I figured there would be a delay. I just didn't think it was going to be that long of a delay. So let me know how the buffering's doing. Right when I say that, I see a comment on buffering. There will be buffering because we do not have the best internet. What I want to know is, for those who've been in my live shows before, let me know if the buffering seems better or worse or about the same, because I'm curious to see if this time of the day might be better. The nice thing about this is I'm here all alone right now because everybody is at work. So yeah, we'll see. So let me take another sip of tea. My throat's already acting up, unfortunately. That kind of figures. So, and just so you guys understand, a lot of times when I'm editing videos, there's a lot of little clips that I have to edit out. Is because I'm constantly having to clear my throat, because I have nodules on my vocal cords. And okay, thanks, Teresa. Okay, thank you. A lifetime of singing in choirs, ensembles, solos, in worship teams and choirs. I said choirs. Well, yeah, I should double that up, because I was in many choirs throughout the years. And, and then teaching dance and martial arts. Dance for 27 years and martial arts for like 7-8 years. I don't remember now. You know, so you're constantly using your voice all the time, and it does take a toll after a while. And so, you know, years ago I had my vocal cords checked, and sure enough, I have nodules. I was wondering why singing was getting harder and my vocal range was getting shorter and shorter, and it was like one of those things. It's like, well, you could have surgery, or you could just sound like Rod Stewart when you sing, which, no, I don't sound like Rod Stewart when I sing. But I figured I would opt out of surgery because, yeah. And guess what? The doctor's last name was Craven. I mean, come on. Really? Dr. Craven? You want someone by the name of Dr. Craven working on your throat? Some people will get that reference. Okay. So, okay. Okay, great, Karen. That's wonderful. So, hello to everyone that's coming in. I've just been kind of rambling about really nothing important, but I do want to ask right off the get-go that you keep us in prayer. You know, we're dealing with some kind of heavy issues right now That's yeah. Was his first name Wes? Exactly. No, but it was close. I think his first name was Les. It was just bizarre. So, yeah, I was expecting when I went into the doctor that day, here I go again off on a tangent, that he was going to come out with blades on all of his fingers. I was like, no. And he was actually a little guy and very mild-tempered, very sweet guy, but no operations here. I'll just live with the nodules and, yeah, make do. Anyway, so what was I saying? So, yes, we could really use some prayer. Just some tough things we're having to go through, and that's a story for maybe another day, and that's why I was expecting a phone call. And anyway, so I wanted to basically today, thank you, Cherish, be about, I wanted to start off just explaining what I want my shows to be about, and that is mostly about health and wellness. And then, it's going to be the top thing. But I also want to expand out farther from there and have it be, about living a frugal lifestyle, adding in some gardening as I go along, tips and what I'm learning and all that kind of stuff. And please chime in if you have any other ideas or thoughts or specific herbs or anything you would like me to focus on, or even on any kind of specific illnesses, because what I know about natural remedies is going to be tailored to us. So, Captain Kirk, cool. James T. Anyway, and so I have a lot of people that will come to me about things like migraines and other issues that, though I dealt with headaches a lot through my life, migraines were never an issue for me. Headaches, pretty much a daily basis, was common, but they were just your standard headaches. Soapwort, nothing is in my books. The soapwort I'm trying for the sake of using as a soap, Tessie, so I don't know if it has medicinal properties. I would be willing to guess that it does, because it seems like every plant has some sort of medicinal property, even the toxic ones. Think of foxglove. Foxglove is toxic, and it grows like a weed out here. It's pretty much considered a weed out here, but it's where they get digitalis. So anyway, for heart medications and stuff. But I think, of course, the heart medications they give you are the synthesized version, which then are truly even more toxic than the plant itself. So Teresa, have you found any less nasty tasting herb for the sleep and pain tincture? So T, I don't know if you're talking about the feverfew or if you're talking about the valerian root. The valerian root and passion flower and all that I put in that one, to me that one tastes way better than my pain tincture, and I don't mind that one so much. But what I am going to do next time I make my pain tincture, instead of using vinegar, I'm going to go ahead and try it with alcohol and then take smaller amounts using vodka for that. But I could use the spiced rum. It would definitely add at least a little bit of nice flavor to it, but that's too expensive to use on that. I'm saving the spiced rum for making vanilla extract with. So then the other thing I wanted to explain about my shows is that I said this in the brief video I put out this morning, I'm going to try to go weekly, but I absolutely cannot promise that. So it was one of the reasons we had to pull the network, because trying to stick to a weekly schedule, which now would have had to completely change anyways. Thursdays would have been bad for us. Starting next week, Thursdays are bad for us. So it's just really difficult, and now things are getting busier with some of these added things that are being put on our plate, and then the garden and all that kind of stuff, and then the chickens. So and I'll try to save the chicken update for when Mr. Rain can go on live with me, which I was initially thinking maybe this weekend, but this is kind of a special weekend for us, so we may be doing something else, just so you know. Okay, so I'm going to read through, it looks like I've got a few questions here. Let me read through these, and I'll talk a little bit about goji berries if I get a chance. Okay, I saw the thing about low iron, and I had to see what that was about. One thing, people, you're going to want to check into, if the doctor's telling you you have low iron, that you're anemic, it may not be because of low iron. If they've only checked your, oh, what do they call it now? I can't even think of the name of it. If they've only just checked your blood and seen you were anemic, but didn't check why, it could be completely opposite. You could be like me, especially if you're of Mediterranean descent. And you could be thalassemic, which means you have a tendency to hold too much iron in your blood. Now, I don't have a problem with the cast iron. For whatever reason, I can cook with cast iron. And I don't know if it's because it's in a more natural form than taking that stuff they prescribe to you or you buy in the store, the iron tablets. But before we totally understood what thalassemia was and that I had it, a doctor had put me on iron. That is the worst possible thing to do for a thalassemic. You can kill a person who has thalassemia, because then what happens is the iron will continue to keep building up and keep building up to high toxic levels. And I was getting to the point when the doctor had me on this iron that I could hardly get out of bed in the morning. And I literally felt heavier, even though I hadn't gotten any bigger. I felt heavier. I just felt like I'd be trying to do my dance stuff and trying to do my grand jetés across the room, and I could barely get off the floor. And then you find out, that particular story, that was a different one entirely. I was taking a B complex, and I did not read the label. The B complex was not just B complex, it had iron in it, and I had no idea. I'd been taking iron, and I was taking it for like a month straight every day, and I couldn't figure out why I was feeling miserable. And I stopped taking it, and slowly I started getting better and getting my energy back. So make sure the doctor knows what kind of anemia it is, because thalassemia is opposite from your regular anemia. So anyway, if you're Italian or any kind of Mediterranean descent, I heard that even in Italy, at least in certain places, you know, they recommend you look up and see if you have a potential mate. Before you start having kids together, you got to look up and find out whether or not they're thalassemic, because two thalassemia minors, which is what I am, will make a thalassemia major, and a thalassemia major baby will not live very long. 5 years, I think, is the longest that they live. So anyway, okay, so I'm sorry, I wanted to get back to questions, and I'm blah blah blah. Oh, the other thing I was going to say about my show, some days they may be 15 minutes, half an hour. I'm going to shoot for the half an hour to 1 hour range, depending on how busy I am. And it's not sickle cell. It's similar to sickle cell, but it's not sickle cell. Sickle cell, the cells are actually shaped like a sickle, and that's not what this is. The blood cells just are very small, and they just hold too much iron, and they keep getting smaller if you keep taking too much iron. So, okay, what's the best way to send a message to you about health issues? YouTube is terrible. I really hate doing private messages through YouTube because I don't get notifications. And I don't always remember to check. I try to remember to check, but if I have Facebook, at least you get a notification. Email notification. So email or my Facebook is the best way. I would say email preferably. So raincountryhomestead@gmail.com. Okay, and let me scroll up here. I think there were some other questions. So I just want to check, make sure I'm not missing. Okay, I was looking up turmeric. And so many that, yeah, exactly, Teresa. Yeah. If I got some turmeric root from a friend who lives here in America that was nice enough just to ship it to me just because they cared. And so I'm trying that to see if it will grow. But yeah, you have to, it's kind of hard to find that one. Okay, how do I make lavender extract for cooking with? I I shouldn't say all extracts are the same on how you make them, but they're pretty close. I think it's going to depend on how strong you want it and all that, but basically, and Dietary might be able to give you a better ratio of alcohol to herbs. For me, I typically will put, let's just say I have a jar like this. I'm going to fill it about halfway up full of herbs, maybe more depending on how loose the herb is, and then I'm going to top it off with alcohol. You know, like you put in a bunch of lavender flowers in there, they take up a lot of room in the jar. So you may want to fill the whole jar up with the lavender flowers before you add in your vodka, and then you're going to want to let it sit in a dark place for at least a month, 1 to 2 months. And you can test it in between there, shake it up every so often. If you remember, I'm terrible at remembering. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind to me. So, yeah, that's one way you can do it. And I've tried cooking with some lavender. It was like, meh. So, okay, I scrolled way up. I got to get back down here. Okay, any other questions before I get... Yes. Yep, need to know what type. And always, if you're taking supplements, which I really don't, there's very few supplements that I buy and take anymore, because I don't trust, I hardly trust any of them anymore. So I do take a D3, and I only take it mostly in the winter, or when we've had a spell of really dark days like today. And even then, you should be making sure you're getting some vitamin K to go along with it, which I don't worry too much about that because we eat a lot of grass-fed butter. So making sure you're getting your D3. The reason I have a lot of issues with supplements, even though I used to take them by the handfuls, and that's because you really need to get your supplements in whole food form, because all the different supplements work together. So when God made the sweet potato and he put vitamin A in there, he put a whole bunch of other vitamins and minerals that work together. And so you really need to have those supplements in their full form. If you start pulling supplements out like calcium and taking calcium by itself, it may not do you any good, or it may even be somewhat detrimental to your system if you're not taking it with magnesium. So these things go together. So looking for, like if you're hypothyroidism and you're looking for something, you're needing selenium. You say, oh, I need selenium. Then what you need to do is you need to go, you need to go look at foods that are high in selenium, like Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts are one of the highest. I think you can get 4 Brazil nuts will give you your daily allowance of selenium. So, okay, 2 people saying offline. It's showing I'm still on here. It must have come back on by the time. Okay. Heavy buffer, huh? Well, nobody else is home, so I'm going to blame it on the weather, because when it's raining heavy today, and when it's like this, we tend to have more buffering, and that's just all the way around when we're trying to watch YouTube videos or anything. Everything's slow. So I'm hoping once they upgrade everything around here, that the weather won't be an issue anymore. So, yeah, anyway, if you guys could see my yard, you would go, gee, why don't you just go for a swim? It's practically warm enough out there right now to do that, and good grief, I have big puddles everywhere. Everything is getting mushy, and I hate having to walk through those paths because they keep getting worse and worse. I feel like eventually it's going to turn into quicksand, though it's quick mud, since we don't have sand. Okay, what if someone had their thyroid removed because they had cancer? What can I tell them? And that is an excellent question. And hyperthyroidism. Tessie, I'll get back to you quick, Lake. One thing you want to look into is, sorry, I'm getting distracted, is eating more of your, like, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and things like that. Because anything is higher in the goitrogens, and eating them raw. Get as much of those veggies, you know, cauliflower, kale, get as much of them raw as you can. If you're hypothyroid, then when you go eat those, brassicas and any of those things that are high in goitrogens, go for a cooked vegetable. So it's, well, and this is typical for our area, this much rain. I keep meaning to look up to see how much at this time of year, or at least right now, how much rain we're getting per day. Because right now it's a lot, but it's like this every year. And so it's just to go walk out and get firewood through my yard, which in the summertime actually there's grass there. It's a mud hole. And so I got to put on boots to do that. It's terrible. Oh, wow. Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate that. I actually keep forgetting that thing's there, and it surprises me every time I see that. Really, really appreciate it. Okay. I do want to continue taking questions, but let me talk just a little bit about goji berry. And this came to my mind because I did a video, I shot a video the other day, I think yesterday it was, about goji berries, just because I have a big bag and I was opening up the bag and putting it in jars and showing yet again how I vacuum seal. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about goji berries and why you should consider growing them, and if you can't grow them or not growing them yet, to stock up on some in bulk, because they are so good for you. They're one of those foods that are considered a superfood. And in my video, I just did a really rough overview, and that's pretty much all I'm going to do now. But one of the things I did forget to mention, okay, sorry, Quake Lake, I said I was going to get back. Raw brassica for hyperthyroidism, and cooked for hypothyroidism. Okay, and then your question was if they had it removed. I'm probably never going to get to the goji berries, and that's okay, because these are important topics. Because I do have that video coming out anyway. Yeah. So the question is if they've had it removed. That's something I need to look into more, but my gut is telling me, and I believe that I came across it somewhere, that you can actually get away with not having to take medication even if you've had your thyroid removed. However, don't quote me on that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a licensed nutritionist or anything like that. This is just, it seems like I came across a story of someone who is doing that without medication, and some things are just kind of based on a gut instinct, because I think it's a matter of introducing certain foods back into your diet, because even though you have specific glands throughout the body that produce certain hormones, let's just say, for example, I have a male dog. I don't plan on getting him fixed, but I may. However, if I get him fixed, he still may have those urges, because testosterone isn't just produced in one part of the body, it's also produced in the brain. And so I would wonder if, the thyroid, if there aren't other parts of the body that can take in and take over and fill in. So it'd be an interesting topic to look into. Again, I really don't know, so I'm not saying one way or the other. But I will try to do a little more research into that and see if I can talk about that in my next show, which hopefully will be next Wednesday, depending on how things go. And let me, in fact, while I'm sitting here, let me grab a pencil and write that down. So, removed thyroid. So just give me a minute, and what to do. So I remember to look that up. Otherwise, I'll forget as soon as everything's over. Okay. Thank you, T. I really do appreciate that. It really means a lot. And I tell you, it's kind of funny, because sometimes when I put out videos, I wonder if people are even interested or going to care. Is this going to help anyone? It's like the tea bag one. It was one of those things where it was like, okay, well, this is what I did because I couldn't find at the time. I guess they're available now, or I just didn't know where to look for them before. The big tea ball in a stainless steel. So I was like, well, why don't I just make a big reusable tea bag out of cloth? And that's what I did, and I had been using that for years. And well, then somebody posted in the chat or in the comment below that why didn't you just get one of these? And it's like, really? There's one right there. I couldn't find it when I was looking, but then I got to thinking, well, maybe it was, at first I was like, was it stupid I put this video out then? Because people could just use that and it would be easier. But then I realized, no, it's not stupid, because some people don't have the money to run out or the ability to run out and buy a stainless steel mesh ball for their tea, even if it's only a few dollars. A few dollars is a lot when you only have a few cents. So hopefully the stuff that I'm putting out there is at least helpful in the form of being frugal as well. So there you go. And okay, just reading through, see if there's anything. Okay, cool, Teresa. I'm just skimming. I'm mostly looking for things in all caps, so if you have an important question, just put it in all caps so I can be sure to see it. Thank you, Ma and Pa. Appreciate that. And my chat's kind of going flashy and weird, so. Thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate that. Okay. And thank you, Wee, for putting that link in there. So, the goji berries. Let me read real quickly, even though you'll hear it in the video I'll put up, and probably, I don't know, I probably won't put it up till next week. A lot of times the videos you see might be at least a couple weeks old. Some of them, the garden videos though, I do try to put those up right away. So they're close to the date that I filmed them. Okay, so just some of the top 8 benefits of goji berries. So why you should consider stocking up on them or trying to grow them. So 1, high levels of antioxidants and nutrients. 2, improve immune function and fight cancer. 3, protect eye health. 4, stabilize blood sugar. 5, detoxify liver. 6, boost fertility. 7, healthy skin. And 8, keep energy and mood up. So I guess that sounds like it's kind of a antidepressant as well, and you know, fights cancer, diabetes, and all these things. So a superfood, right? And that's just a few. That's just a real quick list there. And one of the things I did not say in the video, I was starting to say earlier before I got distracted, is that the leaves are also edible. In fact, the whole entire plant, from roots to stem to even the bark, has been used throughout the centuries for medicinal purposes. Now, what all those medicinal purposes are, for sure, I don't know yet, because it's in depth. It's another one of those things that's just very, very high in medicinal and just healthy properties. So consider growing some goji berries. My goji berries are coming back. My plants are looking great. I wasn't sure there for a while because I'm like, boy, they sure look dead, but now they're getting leaves on them, and I'm so excited. So, oh, and I was going to show you. I have a picture. It's going to be hard to see which one's the goji berry. Right here. Okay, I've shown this picture before, and at that base, that yellow, that lime green yellow looking stuff, that's my golden oregano. And the last time I showed this picture, it was for the sake of the golden oregano. Now, right above that in that pot is my goji berry. But I also have scarlet runner beans growing in that same pot. So those are the little red flowers you see going up. But the goji berry is there at the base of the bean plant, and you can kind of see, I wish I had taken a closer picture, but I didn't get berries yet, but I did get leaves. And yes, I have calendula down there. You can see some, actually, is the calendula showing in that picture? I don't know if it is. I think that might be all nasturtium showing, the bright colored flowers at the base on the lower right, and then you can see my feverfew to the upper left. So that's all what's in there. So anyway, the goji berries right there in that pot with the solar light in it. And we'll see what those do this year. It'll be interesting. I have 5 of them. I bought 8, and it looks like 3 I might have lost, but the other 5, I believe the goji berry will grow in the southern state. And also, it's also known as wolfberry. So look into that if. What's that? Okay. Yeah, Chris. I was like, what? Yeah, so all caps really makes it stand out when you got a lot of comments, and I'm trying to get all of this information said. And I wasn't even sure I'd have enough stuff to keep talking for a half an hour, and I don't know why I always do that, because obviously I do. So, okay, I wanted to look at, I had some other notes. Okay, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything else specific I wanted to talk about in this. Okay, I think that's it. So, I'll take some more questions. Permaculture pepper grows goji berry. Okay, cool. Very cool. Okay. And, yeah, okay. I wondered if it was the same. Palmetto. Yeah. Yes, I knew that. He grows the goji berry. In fact, it was because of his video that made me think, and I didn't know where he was located at the time. He said he was in Zone 8, and I'm like, okay, I'm Zone 8, but that was back when, you know, I really thought living where I live, zones mattered. And I know a lot of people go strictly by zones, and some of you that may apply perfectly. I'm telling you, when you live where I live, zones make no difference. They mean absolutely nothing, because I'll put it to you this way. I live in the same zone as Deep South Homestead and a whole bunch of other, like, parts of Texas at least. I think parts of Texas. I don't know. I know it's like this kind of, you see the Zone 8 kind of swoops up like this and then goes up through Washington. Yeah. And we're Zone 8B. And even out of Zone 8B, I'm looking at people that they're already into the middle of their summer practically, and we're just barely getting into spring. It's like, the zones mean nothing to me. So, zones only make no difference because you can create any microclimate you want. Very good, Palmetto. Thank you. And that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to do with my garden. It's like, just because somebody tells me it won't grow, I'm kind of get a little like, well, you know, initially I might go, depending on how expensive the plant is, I might go, well, I don't know if I want to try it if it's not going to grow here. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, don't tell me I can't. I'm going to try and see if I can make it work. And the goji berries seem to be working, so we'll see what happens when if they ever get berries. But the plants are looking to be pretty healthy. Technically, we're not supposed to grow black elderberry here. Red elderberry, yes, it's wild here. You can find it anywhere. Black elderberry is not even supposed to grow on this side of the United States. But mine are growing. And all three of my plants, including my pollinator, are looking really good. So hopefully my pollinator will get flowers this year. If my pollinator gets flowers, then I should be able to get berries this year. I think that's the only reason I didn't get berries last year, because the pollinator never flowered. Chokeberry, I think, was one of the ones I wanted to try. I think I seen that. I think it was that one that I saw in Dirt Patch Heaven on one of our older videos. And I was thinking, man, I got to try that. So, okay. And I do want to do a video at some point on beet kvass, or at least fermented beets. It's just the same way I do the fermented pickles and the kimchi. But some of you might know what beet kvass is. One time I made beet kvass and I loved it. But then and you can make it twice out of the same batch of beets, but then I was kind of like, why are we throwing out the beets? So then I just ferment the beets, drink the juice, and eat the beets. There you go. You're getting the whole thing. I mean, it is really good for you. I tell you, that will, especially, beets will flush you out. They're one of the most detoxifying vegetables, if not the most detoxifying vegetables you can buy. You eat, I mean, come on. Any of you who like beets, you sit down and eat a big batch of beets. What happens? I'm telling you, it cleans you out, and it's good. So you need to do that, and especially if you're getting fermented beets, so good for your gut. Okay, now, anything come of those wild cucumber seeds? And palmetto, I have not planted them yet. I should, But I decided I probably am going to end up waiting this time. I don't know. I know I'm going to go ahead and plant some cucumber. Hi, Kathleen. And by the way, I'm sorry I've not been saying hi to every single person. I just started talking and I haven't shut up pretty much since I started. But hi, everyone that's been coming in. I do see your names as they're popping up. I acknowledge you in my head, even if I don't say it. What kind of plant do you use? Okay. Oh, it's just, all it is another type of elderberry, another variety within the same, so you have your black elderberry, you want another variety. So like one of them I have is Adams, I think, and then the other one has another name to it, but they're both a black elderberry, but you have to have one of a different species or different variety for them to be able to pollinate each other, just like a lot of other fruits are the same way. Now my peach tree, the one that's out front that we replanted, and it's really looking good. I keep checking on it, and even as cold and wet as it's been out there, it's starting to open up. I'm so excited. But it is self-pollinating. It does not need, it doesn't need another tree near it. But all the apples that I know of have to have another apple tree, especially one of another variety growing somewhere close by. So yeah, I'm just like, I'm still going. I did see you, bandana lady. Okay. You live in the same zone as me, Sharon? Looks like you left something off there, so I'm not sure if I read that right. Things are kind of flying by. Boy, it's busy in here. Yes, to family. And I had some kiwi, and years ago I managed to kill it because I moved it to, it was doing great. I moved it several times, and then that last spot, I'm thinking it's going to go great here. Nope, killed it. So I finally worked up some bravery, whatever, the courage, to try growing the kiwi again. So 1 male, 3 females, I think, is what I have coming in. Now, I know that kiwi, you can have up to 8 females to every 1 male kiwi. So I don't know if I'll ever grow that much. I still haven't decided where I'm going to plant it yet. It's supposed to be coming in sometime this next month. So, and I ordered it from Baker Creek, but I did make sure to get the hardy kiwi. I believe they're just little like this. So, oh, living zone, rain. I get it. Yes, I get it, Sharon. Thank you. You're right. A slug zone. Somebody brought up something with that in mind, because gardening is one of the big topics. Okay, bye, Donna. Thanks for stopping in. The last couple of years, I haven't seen very many slugs. I've seen slugs galore. I haven't seen very many frogs around here. Now, usually every spring about this time of year, the frogs are going berserk. You can barely sleep at night if you have to have your window open at all because they're so loud in the middle of the night. It's like, oh my goodness, you guys, be quiet. And I haven't heard any out there this year so far. I think I heard one maybe a couple of times last year, and same thing the year before. And I'm not sure what's going on with the frogs. Well, somebody brought up that frogs eat slugs. So that may be another reason why we've had such a bad slug problem these last 2 years, is that we haven't had the frogs to keep the slug population down. So my vermiculture, it's going. I keep forgetting about the bucket, but I do remember to go stir it up every now and then and look in there. I still got lots of worms. The thing is, I have about that same amount of worms in my garden right now. And so I'm kind of like, do I really need the bucket? My husband thinks I'm silly, but on the other hand, I'm still playing with it because it's kind of fun just to see what they do. Yeah, normally, Teresa, they're just, the frogs around here are crazy, and they're the little green frogs. I think that, I want to say tree frogs because they're that kind of lime green. They're cute little guys. They only get like that big. And I'm assuming they will eat at least the smaller slugs, but Yeah, I just really haven't seen any, but maybe one. Let's see. Are you making a video of this so we can watch? Okay, so what I'll be doing, that was the other thing. Thank you, Kathleen, because it was the other thing I wanted to make sure that you guys understand is I will not be publishing this video immediately. I'll be waiting for a day where I'm not putting up a video so that I can always have something going up each day as much as possible, because it is a lot to try to keep content coming every single day, but we do try. But it is kind of nice to have a couple days where I just don't even have to worry about it. That's why I also like to keep 2 weeks ahead on my videos. I like to have at least a bank of 2 weeks worth of videos. So that's, some of the videos you see are going to be 2 weeks old, but those are the ones that are like, doesn't matter when they go up. No, I don't use the rock salt, and the reason why I don't is because just like with diatomaceous earth, beer in containers, any of that kind of stuff, it's pretty much worthless when you live where we get this much rain, because the slugs mostly come out when it's raining, and the rain washes away everything. I've even tried doing the beer last year, putting it in containers tilted sideways so the rain couldn't get in, and so the slugs would go in. No, I caught a couple of slugs, but I did a lot better just going out every morning, picking them by hand and dropping them into salt. I mean, I used salt, but I wasn't using the rock salt and anything like that, like sprinkling it around. Okay, Teresa, thank you. Now, I do know that ducks are good with slugs. We are just not currently space-wise in a place that we would want ducks when we're focusing on chickens right now. So, and yes, Mr. Rain did just get a bunch of supplies to make a really nice chicken coop, and if the weather's nice this weekend, he may get started on it, but be watching. There'll be videos of those coming out. And that's in Bandana Grandma, exactly. That's the other thing, is too much salt into the soil is going to kill your plants. However, I would think using it, like if you live in a dry enough place, like you could put it around the perimeter of anything where you don't have to worry about the it killing the vegetation. Back when I cared about the grass and things growing in our driveway, I used to, and when I stopped using Roundup, what I found was really effective for killing vegetation was wait till you got the hottest day possible, and you go out and make a solution of vinegar and salt. You just use that crap salt, the white salt, and make it real strong. And then I use an old spray, like a sprayer, and I just went and sprayed it, and then the heat combined with the salt and the vinegar would just kill that stuff. But you'd probably have to do it at least twice a year to keep up on it. So, but it's cheaper than Roundup and not toxic. Yeah. So if we ever live in a place, if we ever get some property down the road and live in a place, or do things differently here where I felt comfortable having ducks and chickens, then yeah, definitely ducks, because that would be great. But one thing I did find out is that letting your chickens out in the garden before you really get into planting and things are growing, the chickens will eat the eggs. And maybe the baby slugs, I don't know, but at least the eggs. So I'm like, yes. That I'm so looking forward to chickens and all the many things that they're good for, not just giving us eggs and meat, but letting them get out there in the garden a couple, through the winter or whenever they're willing to go out in it and getting the bugs and stirring things up and and leaving their manure in there and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, ducks love it here. They love we definitely, I have right out front there, I have that nice little lake that I showed in that one garden update video, and it's more full today than it was then. Yeah, it was pretty funny, spring and fall. We had a swimming pool too. We used to have a swimming pool out back, but when that when that ditch would fill up like that, the boys would go put on their swimsuits. It didn't matter how cold it was, and go jump in the lake. Crazy kids. So, okay. So, are there any other questions? Let's see. Yeah. Right, Wee Tree. Okay, my chat just disappeared on me again. This thing is acting irritating. So, sorry, people. I'm trying to read this, but it keeps going away on me. Okay. Now, see if I can scroll down and read. Okay. Were there any other questions? If I try scrolling up to see if I can find anything I missed, it's probably going to disappear on me again. So, if I missed your question or even an important statement, go ahead and put that in all caps and just post it again. Thank you, Quake Lake. I hope I was some help on that, on your question, but I will be looking into that more because, and I've been meaning to do that. It is an excellent question. Let's see. Yeah, right, Tessie. Yep. You know, and obviously you're going to get your people that follow you just to hate on you, and don't let that, you know, we all have them. I notice the bigger the channel, the more haters they have that obviously are subscribed to them because they dislike their videos as soon as they come up without even watching them. And whatever, I notice that it still gives us more views and we earn more revenue off of it, and I think people must live a pretty sad life that they have nothing better to do, and they must not have, I mean, they must have a pretty boring life that that's all they have to do but go around and hate on everybody's videos. And I think they're probably all the same people. I think all of us all have the same people that are following us around just to hate on us. So yeah, and that's just the way it is. I knew long before I started a YouTube channel that eventually, I was surprised it took as long as it did for me to get my haters. I don't know why it took so long, but it happened, and there they are. And sometimes I realize when they don't come around, I'm kind of like, well, gosh, where are they? And I start to feel like, you know, a little sad that they haven't come around to visit me. But anyway, I am grateful for them, though, because since I got them, my revenues really did go up. Isn't that just crazy? So how that happens, I don't know, but whatever. Okay, so, okay, what's good to take for low energy? Okay, there's a lot of these kind of questions that I don't feel like I can give you one right answer, because it's going to depend on you and your makeup and what you like. Now, I noticed for the first time somebody who made my jet fueled latte recipe said it tasted to her or him, I'm thinking it was her, can't remember who it was now, like rotten sweet potatoes. And and I could see that for two reasons. One, if they put too much maca and ashwagandha root in it, ashwagandha root is it doesn't have the best flavor and smell. Maca, I like the flavor of, but some people do not like the flavor of, and it is kind of similar to a sweet potato. I agree with you, Palmetto. I think there is a content creator with an army of trolls doing whatever they're told to do. Exactly, and I 100% agree. So, with that being said, pretty sure I know who they are. But that's okay. You know what? I try to remember to pray for them, because I think it's pretty sad that either A, they feel the need to be subjugating themselves to some leader, that they would go that far, and that the leader feels the need to do that. And these are all Christians. Let me put it this way. Christians, the air quotes, that we're talking about. So it's sad, and whatever. None of us are perfect. I make mistakes too. I've made bad judgment calls on people, you know, and I assumed the worst when I should have assumed the best, and so I try to be careful. But anyway, so to keep that in mind with the jet fueled latte, What I told that person is try adjusting the ratios of cacao. Like you may want to put more cacao and less ashwagandha and maca root, because the cacao itself is going to increase your energy levels. So it's really going to give you a good boost. So you may not, maybe the ashwagandha or the maca root isn't even for you. So some people find kombucha to be very helpful. Me, I think it's because I'm not really a black tea. I love fermented stuff, but I'm not a black tea drinker. I've just never really cared for black tea, and I think that's why kombucha is just not my thing. And I also found that every time that I had it, it made me feel weird. So, oh, okay. I'm sorry. You guys are making me laugh. We treat palmetto. Okay. So, sorry. You guys, I'm distracted. You know I get off on rabbit trails really easy. Chris. Okay. And there's a reason why I'm not reading these out loud. I'm going to leave these ones out. They're not dirty. They're not bad. It's not that. I'm just trying not to give too much, any more attention to those people. So, okay. Anyway, I don't know. More about energy. There's a lot of herbs and stuff that will do that for you. I wish I could remember them off the top of my head. But anyway, yeah, the kombucha is a good one for a lot of people. It's just not for me. It always made me feel a little weird. So I didn't like the way no Grizz. I didn't like the way it made me feel, and I find that anything that makes my tongue start to burn, have that weird kind of burny feeling, is something that I don't need. And so even sometimes my kimchi, if it gets a little too fermented, I have to be careful with some fermented stuff, because I can tell when my tongue starts to burn, it's too much. And I need to be careful. We need those probiotics, but you also have to have a balance too. So, okay, hi Collingwood. All right. Let's see. Yeah, you don't want to get me on the political soapbox. It's not a pretty sight. That's the only reason he's encouraging it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, any other questions? I know it can be pretty easy to get me on another topic. I didn't really have any more that I was going to talk about. Hi, Therese. Let's see, is there any... Okay, see, I can't scroll up. Every time I try, the chat just goes blank. That is so irritating. So please, if I missed your question or anything really important you needed me to know, please post it again in all caps so I do not miss it. Yes, Palmetto, we seem to be right on the same wavelength with the political thing there. I try to keep those just to Facebook. I try to keep them off my YouTube channel for the most part. Anyway, so, okay. Well, I think if there's no other questions, I should probably... Awesome. Okay. Sorry, people that are coming back and watching this later. I'm not going to read all of this stuff, so I'm really sorry that you're left out of the loop if you were not able to see this live. Okay. Man, I keep starting to say something and I forget what it is. You guys are good at distracting me. But I love the chat. I really love interacting with you. But I do think I should probably get going. I have a lot I need to get done today. But it ended up not being so bad with it being pouring down rain and there not being a lot I could do outside other than what I absolutely had to do, like get firewood and get some water. I still might try it. Sometimes I still just go out there and piddle around in the rain because I gotta get stuff done. What I did do though, I did get some strawberries transplanted in my new garden section out front, and they're looking really good. I don't know if there was any other garden updates. I'm going to start digging up those dandelions soon. I just don't want to do it yet because it's just too gushy out there. But what I did do, thank you, Bandana Grandma. I can do that sometimes. The guy split up all that firewood that Patrick recently brought home. And the other day they busted it in. Ryan and Patrick got out there and just busted it and split up all that firewood. And so I had all these great chunks of bark. And when I have a big old pile of bark, this is what I do this time of the year. I take it and I make pathways through that. You know, I had the cardboard laying down for pathways. Well, now the cardboard is so wet and gushy that you can barely even walk on that. So now I've taken the bark and laid it down, and it looks a lot better too. And the problem is, though, then I tend to drag my feet a little bit, and then I kind of trip on the bark. So anyway, talk about homemade Berkey. Okay, I'll explain real quickly. I'm hoping Mr. Rain, we need to get a couple of food grade buckets to do this, because I want him to make another one and do a video of it. So I would still recommend going stainless steel if you can get it, if you can afford it, you know, the big Berkey system or whatever, but it is expensive. And the Berkey filters, and I will try to remember to put a link under this video where I get my Berkey filters. I buy them in 4-packs. The best price I've seen is the 4-pack through Amazon. Best price I've seen anywhere. And I think it just had recently gone up to $110 for 4 of them. And that's a really good deal. When I was first buying them, it was 4 for $100, so $25 a piece, and that's, yeah, that was the best deal. So I'll try to remember to get that link under here as soon as we're done. Of course, you won't probably see this until later, but I do put the link to the Berkey under some of my other videos, so you can look for it there. But what we did is we just get a couple of food grade plastic buckets, and the reason, even though I try to get away from plastic, I don't worry so much about it with the water, is it's not in there that long. I'm not storing it in the plastic. I store my filtered water in big 1-gallon glass jugs, and you may have seen that. Okay, yeah, and I'll try to, I better write that down on the generator, because I do have a video on how I make the colloidal silver. I don't know what I do with my pencil, but I said in that video that hopefully someday Mr. Rain would do a video on how to make the generator. Let's see, CS generator. But anyway, the water filter system. Sorry, I'm stuttering. So you get 2 buckets, and you want to make sure you have the lids, especially one lid in particular. You got to at least have one lid to go on top of the bottom one. And what he did was he drilled a hole in the middle of the lid that goes on the bottom bucket, and then drilled the hole in a smaller hole in the lid in the bucket that goes on top of the bottom bucket. I don't know if I'm making any sense because I'm jumping around here. And then the filter goes into that top bucket. So it screws on from the bottom through that hole, and then you put your water in the top, and then it's going to slowly drain down and go through the filter and into the bottom bucket. And then he also installed a little spout at the bottom of the bottom bucket. So and you may have seen that if you looked at one of my videos. I did, I don't know, a couple months ago maybe, and it was just kind of like a winter day in rain. I don't remember what it was called, but it was just a music video, but I mean, it just had music, no talking, and just showed me doing all these various things like getting firewood, getting water. It showed me filling up the water jug, making a chocolate cream pie, and finishing a crocheting order and all that kind of stuff. And it was just like a standard winter day. So it's in there, and I may even have the link to the Berkey filters under there. And no, Tessie, I don't have that video on digging up the dandelion yet. I keep going out there and looking at that dandelion going, man, the stuff's about ready to dig up. And I'm getting anxious to dig it up and start dehydrating some more dandelion root and get that video made, but it's just been so darn wet. So I think I'll have to put on my knee-high bogs that you saw in that other video, the camo ones. I have some slip-on ones that I usually wear when I just step out back, but sometimes I need those ones that go clipped to my knees because it's bad out there. Yeah, get a shovel. Here was the other thing, though. The reason I like to dig my dandelions out of my main garden rather than out of anywhere else is that's where they're the easiest to dig out of. And that's why another reason I like to let them grow there, because the soil is so loose there because it's been amended over the years and more amendments added every year, leaves and horse manure and compost, and so the dandelions pretty much come right out. It's like that right after I shot that video of I think it was my last garden update where I was showing the lemon thyme coming back, but all around it looked like it was choking it out was my orange mint. I went ahead and pulled up that whole orange mint plant, and I was surprised how easy it came up. Now I know there's still going to be pieces in there, and I'm fine with that. But I took that whole plant and stuck it right in one of the muddiest spots in in the pathway, because if it ends up taking over there, I'm totally cool with that, because the grass is not holding up. That's for darn sure when it gets this wet. So we'll see if the orange mint holds up better. And I tell you, when you mow over that stuff, oh man, it just makes mowing your yard so pleasant. So I don't care if my yard fills up completely with herbs and whatever. Huh. Somebody must be trying to call me on Facebook on my Samsung. I don't do that. So I don't get that thing. That's weird. I've never used it. I've had a couple of people try to call me through Facebook, and I don't get it, and I don't want to get it. I have a phone, and that's for people who have my phone number, which is very few people. And yes, I will do dandelion videos as they come along. So do I grate it? I'm guessing you're talking about the dandelion. Darn it. See, I tried to scroll up. Sorry people, it's still just disappearing on me. I just can't even touch my mouse or it disappears. Good idea, Palmetto. Really good idea. Because the only thing I like my grass for is to mow it, and it makes great clippings, especially for blueberries. It makes great compost to layer onto the blueberries, great mulch. Blueberries and mashed potatoes. Oh my gosh, I must be getting tired. And potatoes, I actually did lose a lot of sleep last night. Potatoes like grass clippings quite a bit too, because they tend to lean towards a more acidic type soil. But that brings me back to the goji berries. I assumed that goji berries, because they're a berry, liked a more acidic soil. I found out today they like a more alkaline soil. So consider that if you're going to try growing goji berries or are growing goji berries. Yes, we will show those grapevine trellises when he has not been able to get back to them. I'm telling you, it has been either super busy every weekend trying to find time. Last weekend he went into town with our boy, so he picked up supplies for the chicken coop, and Ryan picked up supplies for finish out some stuff in his house. That was one whole day, and then another whole day he was at a friend's helping him build an airplane, and then he's got to have at least one day to rest, and then it's just been wet. So it's really no fun working in the mud. Sometimes you just have to grin and bear it, but so he has not been able to finish the grapevine trellis. But I probably should save this for other videos, but he did get me a couple cattle panels, and I was originally going to have him stand them up on end and use them, not on end, but, horizontally, and use them as trellises that way. And then he came back and said, I was thinking about making an arch with them. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want to do for my squash. I haven't decided exactly for sure where I'm going to put them both, but I'm thinking about putting the spaghetti squash on one and my pumpkin on the other, and trying to get it set up so I don't have to grow them too close together. So that's the goal. And then, of course, right after, I was like, that is a great idea. And then I realized other people are actually doing the same thing. And here I thought, I thought it was just this brilliant idea that Mr. Rain had, but I guess a lot of other people are using this brilliant idea of arching the cattle panel, because he got some long ones. I can't remember how long they are. 16 feet? Yeah, but they're long. 16 feet, yeah, because he had to throw them on the back of that trailer, and that trailer out there is 16 feet, and they fill up the trailer. So, okay. I have 3 arches. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, and I was thinking about the pole beans too, family. I just grow my pole beans, on anything that it can climb on. I've grown them around my peach tree. They loved it. On sunflowers, they'll wrap right around the sunflowers. Yeah, you know, this time of the year, the rain is just a bit too much. It's like this is that time of the year. I love it and hate it at the same time. I love it because we're getting into planting and getting the garden ready, but I hate it because it seems like the rain never, ever stops. You'll get a brief reprieve. You'll see the sun come out and you'll say, I have 5 minutes to run out there and plant something or throw some more horse manure in this new area that I'm starting. It's crazy here, I tell you. Okay. Anything else? I really should go. It's hard to go because I enjoy this so much, but that's the nice thing too about doing my own show is I can stay on here as long as I want. But then again, I can't because I have a bunch of stuff I got to do. I have a skirt order, of course. I have finished this week. Let's see. One, I hang them up to dry, and then I look them over with go over them with a fine-tooth comb to try to clip off all the threads. I'm sure I missed some. I find any mistakes and go back and fix them. So I have 2 finished. I just need to sew the tags on, and I've done that so far this week, and finished an order of some feminine products and have those packaged up and ready to mail. And I've got another skirt in the works right now. So, and then I have a long list of sewing orders coming in. I mean, really, I did actually have to put together a document on my computer to keep track of the orders so I can hit them, so I don't miss anyone, what it is they want, and then I mark it off. If they've paid, then I mark that. If it's completed, then I mark that. Yeah, it's the only way I can keep track. Otherwise, yeah, I've never been this busy with orders before, and it's got to be because of the YouTube channel. So, because I used to sell my crocheted stuff. Really, I was already selling my crocheted goods all over the country, but the crochet orders would only come in the winter time and then come to a complete stop. Which the crochet orders have come to a complete stop again, but the sewing orders have not stopped. But yeah, I make sweaters too. I have a whole bunch of sweaters in my closet. In fact, I have 2 brand new sweaters I made last year that I just made to make them and tried to sell them. And eventually, what I need to do is post them on my Rain Country Handcrafted Goods page and see if somebody would be interested in buying them. One's a sage green they're both very lacy sweaters, so they could be worn almost any time of the year. And one's got that triangle back and front, and then the other one's got the poet sleeve and a ruffle that goes all the way around. It's one of my favorite. That one's my favorite sweater design. I have a couple like that. So, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, dead air space. I don't like that. But I am trying to read comments, and I don't have Mr. Rain to read them for me here. I should teach my dog to read instead of just laying in front of the fire and being lazy. But I saw the thing about the pod green block. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, but it reminded me that I grow, one of my favorite beans that I grow and does really well here is the purple potted pole bean. And I got those from Baker Creek. And they do really well. I'm not sure if I'll grow them this year just because I have a bunch of new beans I want to try. And I also really like the Scarlet Runner and the Sunset Runner and the Barnside Sweet Runner. The Barnside Sweet Runners I'm not kidding. If you let them grow, they get that big. What is that, about 1.5 feet? And then about that wide. They're still kind of a flat-ish bean, but that wide. I mean, they're humongous. Anyway, and then I have those Asian beans that I want to try, and Jen sent me some and I'm really excited about these. The Atsuki beans that I want to try, I have to pick and choose. So I can't grow them all. But the purple potted pole bean is one I recommend. They're beautiful. They have a real beautiful purple flower. And then the bean itself is kind of a dark purple. But when you cook it, it turns dark green. When you freeze it, it turns dark green too. It doesn't stay purple when you freeze it, which is interesting. And I prefer to freeze my beans. Barnside Sweet Runner. It looks just like a scarlet runner. It's just bigger. It's like the Texas version of the Scarlet Runner is what I would call it. But it grows here. It grows well here. I think we can grow just about any kind of bean here. Any kind of bean or pea would grow well here. They like it here. You just don't want to get them in the ground too soon because of the rain will drown them, or the birds. The birds have this, and my neighbor he doesn't live there now, but master gardener, he said, like, when the beans and the peas and like the marshmallow, I showed in that one video, you see the marshmallow, which that I could see even more so why the birds would peck the ends off, because it looks like little worms coming up out of the ground to them, and so they're pecking at them, they think they're worms. So I've had them pull out my calendula, and then they just leave it laying there because they think it's a worm coming up out of the ground, and so they pull it out. So that's the robins. Robins do that bad. So anyway, so if you sometimes you have to wait until late enough where the birds have other things to eat that they're not pulling all your plants up. Anyway, so yes, I have been having to buy a lot of brand new sheets because there's so many orders and people looking for specific colors. And actually all the skirts that I make are all brand new fabric. But I have had to pay full price for some of it. It's still a better deal than buying the fabric by the yard, but just to get the right colors. And so, boy, I tell you, it's getting expensive. So I've had to recently up the prices of my skirts because, I'm not even making minimum wage on these things. However, the best deal I've been able to find on sheets, and this still gets me, brand new sheets, is right here in town at my local grocery store. Plus, we get a discount because our son works there. So, best deal on cotton sheets. Okay, I really do need to get going. More questions coming in. I don't know anything about turkey craw beans. One thing you want to look at is that some of your beans are going to be good just for the beans on the inside. Now, the thing I like about the runner beans is you can use them as a green bean, or you can let them get big enough and then dry them and use them as a cooked bean, the actual bean part. The purple beans, I would think you could probably do that with most any bean, but some of them are more particular, a green bean, and some are more particular that, like the pinto bean, you're not going to eat the whole thing. It just depends on when you pick them. If you're going to use it as a green bean, you want to pick them when they're smaller, tender. Otherwise, they get too tough. Then once they get to that point, you just need to let them sit on there and stay on there until they dry. And then put them up and then cook them for, beans and cornbread or something like that, or some kind of bean soup, or refried beans. Okay, I saw another question. How do you cook those big beans? What I do, the really big ones I say for seed. I can't remember. I did cook some up and put it in chili last year to try it, and they were pretty good. I usually try to get them as a green bean, like the runner beans, when they're about that big, no bigger than that, and then I take my kitchen shears or a knife, either way, and just cut them up, and then I freeze them. It works better for freezing. Yeah, sorry people, I get a lot of buffering anyway, but we have bad weather today, so it's not helping. Okay. Okay, organic garden gnome. All right. Yeah, so, hey, Bizarrizagizza. It is. It is, and now I'm just wasting time. Well, I shouldn't say, that's terrible. I shouldn't have said that. I'm not wasting time because I'm here chatting with some wonderful people, but I really have to get busy. I really have to get going. And again, if you just came in late, this probably won't be published, so if you want to go watch the replay, I'm probably not going to publish it until Saturday, because Saturday is usually the day I do not put up a video. So then I'll have something to put up for that day, and it will be this live stream. So anyway, I really need to go, and I see a lot of other people need to go. Okay, you must have uploaded me. Kathleen, I have to space things out so it works, because it just works best as a content creator if you can keep at least something coming out every day or most days of the week. And so I try to spread things out. And I promised somebody in a natural eye drop video that I made like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm finally going to get it put up tomorrow because they were asking me about it. It's like, oh, I got to get that up, so I'll put that one up tomorrow. Anyway, I really need to go and go wash some dishes and start making my dinner and work on that skirt and probably scrub a toilet or two. All right. Thank you, people. Thanks for coming into my first show, and I will try again next Wednesday at the same time, 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and if it all works out. If it doesn't, then I will put out a tweet and or a Facebook page saying no show to Facebook post saying no show today, and hopefully you guys just understand that sometimes life is crazy. All right, thanks for coming. And we'll see you on the next show. Bye.